Hello there, you're watching News at 10 on Rajya Sabha TV with me, Aishwarya Kapoor, and here are the latest headlines. Vijay Mallya resigns from seat in Rajya Sabha. In letter to chairman says he does not want his name and reputation to be dragged in mud further. Resignation a day ahead of Ethics Committee meet to decide his fate. India asserts that Italy is misrepresenting UN Arbitration Court's order on Italian Marines. Says Marine can be allowed to go to Italy only on conditions set by the Supreme Court and under the authority of India's apex court. Former Air Chief SP Tyagi to be questioned again in connection with the Augusta Westland chopper deal today. He was questioned for 10 hours on Monday. Forest fire in Uttarakhand brought under control. Environment Minister says 4 people arrested for igniting fire. Police constable engaged in dousing fire killed after being hit by boulder. And final day of campaigning for 6th and final phase of elections in West Bengal. 25 constituencies to go to polls on 5th of May. For today's biggest story, Vijay Mallya has resigned from his seat in the Rajya Sabha. The resignation comes just a day before the Ethics Committee was to meet, where action was to be initiated against him. In a letter to the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, Mallya said that he does not intend his name and reputation to be further dragged into mud.
Before the Ethics Committee of the Rajya Sabha was set to recommend his expulsion, independent MP and liquor baron Vijay Mallya resigned.
एथिक्स कमेटी की बैठक में आम सहमति से उनकी मेमोरी लेने का तय हो गया था और उनको नोटिस दिया गया था क्योंकि नेचुरल जस्टिस होना चाहिए। वो जानते थे कि कल की मीटिंग में उनका निपटारा हो जाएगा, उनकी मेमोरी ले ली जाएगी, तो उन्हें चालाकी से इस्तीफा दे दिया। यही है इसमें।
In his letter to Rajya Sabha chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari, Vijay Mallya said, and I quote, I am hereby resigning as a member of the Rajya Sabha with immediate effect. I do not wish my name and reputation to be further dragged in the mud. Recent events suggest that I will not get a fair trial or justice.
जो विजय माल्या ने जो इस्तीफा दे दिया है, तो कोई भी इस्तीफा तो दे सकते हैं, लेकिन फिर भी वो जिस प्रकार से हमारा वो देश को एक धोखा के रूप में उन्होंने जो 10,000 करोड़ का वो लोन लिया, उसको तो लौटाना चाहिए, तो उसके जो ऊपर जो कार्रवाई है वो तो कार्रवाई तो चलना चाहिए.
Mallya also wrote that he had separately replied to Ethics Committee Chairman Karan Singh. In the letter, Mallya claimed that the allegations against him were blatantly false and baseless. He also claimed that the Department of Financial Services, Ministry of Finance, Government of India has provided factually wrong information to the Parliament Committee.
What is more important is the debts and the debts of individuals, company, banks, which have to be sorted out. And if there is any criminal investigation, he should cooperate in that.
Mallya faces a loan default of over 9,400 crore rupees. An independent MP elected for the second time, Mallya had less than 2 months left of his 6-year term.
इस्तीफा दे रहे हैं तो शायद उनको सच्चाई नजर आ गई होगी, इसीलिए पहले ही इस्तीफा दे दिया है। लेकिन जो उनके खिलाफ मामला है, इससे और इस्तीफा देने से कोई संपर्क, कोई रिलेशनशिप नहीं है और वो मामला चलता रहेगा.
Ethics Committee has concluded that his conduct is not of an elected member of Parliament, and he is being alleged as a defaulter, and that is why Ethics Committee has come to this conclusion. Whether he resigns or doesn't resign, it doesn't matter. Whatever the Ethics Committee has decided, that will stand.
The government had earlier revoked Mallya's passport. He left for Britain in March after attending the first part of the budget session for a few days. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now to the other big story. Now, India has said that the order of the UN Permanent Court of Arbitration on the Italian Marines cases in its favour. Now, this after Italy said that its Marine Salvatore Gironi, charged with murder and on bail in India, be allowed to return to Italy pending arbitration procedures. Now, India has said that the order has placed the Marine under the authority of the Supreme Court of India.
New Delhi saying Italy is misrepresenting the order of the UN Arbitration Tribunal in the Marines case. The UN's Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague has allowed Salvatore Gironi, one of the 2 Marines held in India on murder charges, to return home pending arbitration proceedings.
In its order today, the Arbitral Tribunal unanimously prescribed that India and Italy would approach the Supreme Court of India for relaxation of bail conditions of Sergeant Gironi. While remaining under the authority of the Supreme Court of India, he may return to Italy for the duration of the present arbitration. The tribunal confirmed Italy's obligation to return him to India in case it was found that India had jurisdiction over him in respect of the incident.
Italy in March had asked the Permanent Court of Arbitration judges to order India to release its detained Marine Gironi. Italy argued that otherwise he risks 4 more years in India without any charges being made, which would amount to grave violation of his human rights. India has asserted the authority of the Supreme Court in deciding bail conditions for the Marine.
The tribunal left it to the Supreme Court of India to fix the precise conditions of Sergeant Gironi's bail. It has also noted that while Sergeant Gironi may return to Italy during the present arbitration, during all this period, he would remain under the authority of the Supreme Court of India.
The UN court is hearing oral arguments by the 2 sides after India and Italy agreed to arbitration.
Let me also emphasize that the tribunal placed on record undertakings given by Italy in regard to Sergeant Gironi's return to India. It noted that these undertakings constitute an obligation binding upon Italy under international law. It has also confirmed that Italy is under an obligation to return Sergeant Gironi to India if the tribunal finds that India has jurisdiction over him.
The government says the PCA order is a recognition of its key arguments in the case.
Government is studying the order which was received only today. It would, in due course, approach the Honorable Supreme Court for its directions on this matter. We believe that the government's consistent positions and key arguments in this particular case have been recognized by the tribunal.
The 2 Italian Marines, Massimiliano Latorre and Salvatore Gironi, are facing charges of murdering 2 fishermen in 2012 off the Kerala coast. Latorre is back in Italy after a stroke in 2014, while Gironi is staying in the Italian embassy in New Delhi. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Moving on now, and the CBI will continue questioning former Air Chief SP Tyagi today as well in connection with its probe into the bribery charges in the Augusta Westland VVIP chopper deal. On Monday, he appeared before the investigating officials for a fresh round of questioning, which comes in the wake of the Milan court order indicating massive corruption in the deal. Now, Tyagi's name figures in the Italian court order multiple times.
Faced with allegations of corruption in the 3,600 crore rupee Augusta Westland VVIP chopper deal, former Air Chief SP Tyagi arrived for questioning at the CBI headquarters in New Delhi on Monday. The investigating agency called him to examine his role in the multi-crore VVIP chopper deal amid reports that he had met Augusta Westland middlemen 7 times between 2004 and 2007. The CBI is also trying to get details from Tyagi on who exactly received the alleged kickbacks to influence the contract for a dozen VVIP choppers. The Milan Court of Appeals, which is the equivalent of an Indian High Court, has already given details of how alleged bribes were paid by helicopter maker Finmeccanica and Augusta Westland to Indian officials through middlemen to clinch the deal. The order does also mention SP Tyagi's name at several points. The CBI has registered a case against Tyagi and 13 others, including his cousins as well as European middlemen. Pressure is now mounting on the government to extract the truth at the earliest.
If any truth is to be arrived at by our agencies, they will have to question Tyagi ji, and Tyagi would be given an opportunity to explain each and every circumstance that may appear against him.
CBI, ED अपना काम निर्भयता पूर्वक करे और जो तथ्य हैं वो देश के सामने आए, इस पर किसी को कोई ऐतराज नहीं है।
इसका आप लोग इसमें ध्यान दो और रिजल्ट पे आ जाए और बता दें। त्यागी को करना ही पड़ेगा क्योंकि वो तो चीफ था उस टाइम पे, तो करे।
The allegation against SP Tyagi is that he had reduced flying ceiling of the helicopter from 6,000 meters to 4,500 meters so that Augusta Westland could be included in the bids. He, however, denies the allegations and claims the decision to reduce the ceiling was taken by a group of senior officials in the then government. Tyagi had earlier been questioned back in 2013, but the fresh round of examination is the first after the Italian court order. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now an update on the Uttarakhand fires. And Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar has said that the forest fire in the state have been brought under control. This comes as 4 people have been arrested for igniting the fire in Pauri. Now, Javadekar said that not a single inch of forest land would be allowed to be encroached upon or diverted for any other use by anybody. Meanwhile, a police constable engaged in firefighting operations was killed after being hit by a boulder.
The raging fire that engulfed the forest of Uttarakhand is under control now, but a thick haze of grey smoke continues to envelop a huge area. Pauri, Nainital, Rudraprayag and Tihri are among the worst hit districts. The centre has assured full cooperation to tackle the crisis.
हमारे पास पूरा डॉक्यूमेंट्स है, सैटेलाइट इमेज से भी हमने पूरा इफेक्टेड एरिया का जांच लिया, टीम भी भेजा हुआ है, टीम लगे हुए हैं। जो टोटल 13 जिले में प्रभावित हुआ है वो आग स्प्रेड अभी नहीं हो रहे हैं, वो उसको कब्जा में और वहाँ पूरा अच्छी तरह से उसको कंट्रोल किया गया है, ऐसा रिपोर्ट आया है।
हम जो है ऐसी योजना बनाए कि इस समय तो आग नए क्षेत्रों में न फैले और दूसरा जो है दूसरी बार उन क्षेत्रों में फिर आग न लगे।
Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar has hinted the fire could have been a man-made disaster. He also said 4 people have been arrested in connection with the case.
4 लोग भी पकड़े हैं कल पौड़ी में कि जो आग लगाते हुए पाए गए, उनको भी पकड़ा है। तो ये ऐसा अगर कोई प्रयास करता है तो उसका पूरी जांच होगी और ये एक्शन हम सख्ती से लेंगे।
Thousands of firefighters have been battling round the clock to control the blaze. The Indian Air Force Mi-17 helicopters fitted with water tanks also sprayed gallons of waters to bring the blaze under control.
Yesterday we had done some operations in the afternoon till evening, and right now today again we have come in the early morning from 6:30 onwards. We are ready. The aircrafts are ready, and we are waiting for the weather to clear up. As soon as the weather clears up, we'll take off, start carrying operation in the region of Srinagar, which is a part of Uttarakhand, and we'll try to dose the fire as early as possible.
The situation in Uttarakhand may be under control, but it is slowly spreading to Himachal Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir. The fires in Uttarakhand have been burning for nearly 3 months, destroying close to 3,000 acres of forest cover so far. 7 persons have also been killed. Although the Met Department raised some hope of relief soon, predicting rain in the state in the next 24 to 48 hours. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
News from the national capital now, and Union Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari convened an emergency meeting on Monday and said that the centre will appeal to the Supreme Court to reconsider its decision to ban diesel cabs. Now, the meeting came as hundreds of taxi drivers blocked major roads in Delhi to protest against the Supreme Court's decision. Now, massive traffic jams were reported as the protesting cab drivers blocked National Highway 8 and the Ring Road.
A day after the Supreme Court's ban on plying of diesel-driven taxis in Delhi took effect, cab drivers on Monday blocked traffic in Delhi's border areas, affecting movement of traffic to and from Gurgaon and Noida. Hundreds of cab drivers blocked National Highway 8 and the Ring Road to protest against the action of enforcement agencies following the Supreme Court order.
हम इसलिए कर रहे हैं कि हमारी रोजी रोटी छीनी जा रही है और हम लोगों को कॉमर्शियल व्हीकल बंद किया जा रहा है टैक्सी डीजल गाड़ी के लिए। इसलिए हम कहना चाहते हैं कि अब 5 साल का उन्होंने टैक्स ले रखा है, हम 5 साल का टैक्स भर रखे हैं, पूरा पैसा हमने सरकार को दे रखा है, उसके बावजूद हमको सरकार पागल बना रही है।
40 लाख गाड़ी है, दिल्ली पुलिस की गाड़ियां हैं, क्या वो पोल्यूशन नहीं कर रही? सिर्फ हमारी 27,000 गाड़ियां वो एनडीएमसी के ट्रक है, एमसीडी के ट्रक है, वो उनको दिखाई नहीं दे रहे। क्या सिर्फ हमारे जो अपना सेटल करा हुआ बिजनेस है वो हमारे को तंग करने के लगे हुए? हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट के खिलाफ नहीं है, हम सब लेकर साथ चलने के लेकर तैयार है, पर सब प्राइवेट गाड़ियों में बंद हो।
Traffic in Gurgaon too was disturbed as protesters blocked roads, shouted slogans. The cab drivers alleged that the government implemented the ban carelessly, leading to financial losses for them.
प्रोटेस्ट इसलिए कर रहे हैं कि जी इस गाड़ी को हमने भी 2-4 महीने पहले खरीदा है, ठीक है। जब वो सरकार को बंद करनी थी तो बुराड़ी में एक तो परमिट ही देना था, रजिस्ट्रेशन ही नहीं निकलवाते वो। अब ये वो यूं कह रहे हैं कि जी गाड़ी बंद होगी। इस गाड़ी की 30,000 रुपए किस्त है, 6 फैमिली मेंबर हैं, कहाँ से पालेंगे हम? बाहर नौकरी करने जाओ 10,000 से ऊपर तनख्वाह नहीं देते, 10,000 में किराया देंगे कि बच्चों को पालेंगे, क्या करेंगे?
Commuters also had a harrowing time as the traffic chaos happened during peak office hours. Protesting cab drivers blocked traffic on the Noida side of the DND flyway, leading to massive congestion. Centre has assured it will request the Supreme Court to reconsider the ban on plying of diesel taxis in the national capital. The decision was taken at an interministerial meeting attended by Nitin Gadkari, Anand Gite and Prakash Javadekar.
बिटवीन द लाइन सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सामने अपने केस को प्रेजेंट रखकर ये स्टेप बाय स्टेप हम किस प्रकार से कर रहे हैं और उसके लिए जो लोग इससे अफेक्ट होंगे उनके सोल्यूशन भी कैसे निकल रहे हैं, इसका प्लान तैयार कर सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सामने हमारी तरफ से प्रेजेंट करेंगे।
ये सारा मामला न्यायालय के अंदर चला था। न्यायालय ने टैक्सी चालकों को भी समय दिया था, फिर एक्स्ट्रा एक महीने का समय मांगा गया था। एक महीने का समय हम लोगों ने भी कोर्ट के समय पक्ष ये रखा था कि इनको समय दिया जाए जिससे कि ये निर्णय ले सके। हम सबको मिलकर के सोचना है। उन टैक्सी ड्राइवरों के बच्चे भी दिल्ली में रहते हैं। दिल्ली में जिस तरह से पोल्यूशन बढ़ रहा है और हम सबकी जिंदगी पर खतरा आ रहा है, तो हम सब मिलकर के प्रयास करेंगे तभी इसका समाधान होगा। और मुझे लगता है कि इसको जो भी ड्राइवर्स हैं, जो भी ऐप बेस्ड कंपनियां हैं, वो इसको समझेंगी।
According to the Delhi Transport Department, nearly 60,000 taxis are registered in the national capital, of which 27,000 run on diesel. Around 2,000 diesel-run taxis converted to CNG in the last 2 months. With inputs from Anu Diwan, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And with this, we'll take a very short break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Welcome back. Now, campaigning for the 6th and the final phase of West Bengal Assembly elections will come to an end today. Now, 25 Assembly constituencies from Cooch Behar and East Midnapur will go to polls on 5th of May. Over 81% electorate had exercised their franchise in the 5th phase of the elections. At least 15 crore rupees are in the fray for the 6th phase, while 33 candidates have declared criminal cases against them. Now, counting of votes will be held on 19th of May. And from West Bengal to Kerala, and a full team of the Election Commission headed by Chief Election Commissioner Naseem Zaidi undertook a review of the election preparedness ahead of the assembly polls in the state. Around 26 million voters will exercise their voting rights on 16th of May. All the vulnerable and critical polling booths will be covered by webcasting as well as micro-observers. One observer per constituency will be deployed in sensitive assembly constituencies. Around 800 model polling stations will be set up in the state and 250 all-women polling booths will be arranged to ensure women's safety. Polling officials also will be under radar to ensure a fair voting. The Commission took note of the concerns and suggestions of the political parties and assured them that the Commission will take effective measures to ensure free, fair and peaceful polling. Now, other than Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry will go to polls in May and the results will be announced on 19th of May.
In addition to Central Police Forces at vulnerable and critical polling stations, webcasting will be arranged at all vulnerable and critical polling stations where internet connectivity is available, and where internet connectivity is not available, static video cameras and micro observers who are central government employees will be stationed.
News from Tamil Nadu, and Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha and DMK President M. Karunanidhi are among the 3,800 candidates who will contest the 16th of May Assembly elections. More than 300 candidates have withdrawn their nominations, leaving more than 3,400 men, about 320 women and 2 third-gender candidates to fight the elections. Besides the AIADMK and DMK Supremos, the names of DMK Chief Vijay Kant and A. Ramados have also been cleared for the elections. In a multi-cornered fight, AIADMK is facing the polls virtually by itself by contesting from 227 seats, with the small allies were being allocated only 7 constituencies. While DMK has aligned with the Congress after a 3-year break, DMDK has joined hands with MDMK founder Vaiko-led People's Welfare Front and GK Vasan's TMC. And in Puducherry, a total of 344 candidates, including 97 independents, are in the fray for the 16th of May elections to the 30-member Union Territory Assembly. 22 candidates withdrew their nominations on the last day, of which 3 candidates were from PMK and the rest were independent candidates. Now, prominent among the candidates are Chief Minister N. Rangasamy, Opposition Leader V. Vankalingam and P. Kannan, who recently quit the Congress. Now, Outgrid segment repeatedly has the maximum number of 17 candidates, while the Karaikal has the minimum of 8 candidates. 272 candidates will be contesting from 23 constituencies in Puducherry. 51 candidates will contest in Karaikal, 10 in Mahe and 11 in Yanam regions. The voter strength in the Union Territory is above 9 lakh. Let's now bring you some international news. And with the Syrian ceasefire fraying amid airstrikes in Aleppo, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is scheduled to meet United Nations envoy Staffan de Mistura in Moscow today. Now, these talks come at another tense moment. The US and its partners have accused Russia of not fulfilling its part in the peace process in Syria by failing to rein in Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. The US has also accused Assad, a long-time Russian ally, of breaking the terms of the ceasefire announced by Moscow and Washington in February. The Kremlin argued over the weekend that Assad's airstrikes were targeting militant groups, but has since softened its tone.
Russia and the United States have agreed that there will be additional personnel who will work from here in Geneva on a daily basis, 24/7, in order to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in order to try to make sure that there is a better job and a better ability to be able to enforce the cessation of hostilities day to day.
Preparing for a much better mechanism for monitoring and controlling a new ceasefire reinvigorated. But we need political will for that.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
News from the United States, and it is going to be a crucial day for all the presidential hopefuls as the Indiana voters cast record number of ballots ahead of the primary today. And the state is in the national spotlight because of spirited Republican and Democratic presidential races. Republican frontrunner Donald Trump said on Monday that he hoped to seal the Republican presidential nomination by winning today's contest in Indiana, where he holds a big lead over chief rival Ted Cruz. Now, Trump has already amassed 996 delegates, and with the momentum behind him, he looks increasingly likely to win the nomination outright without a contested convention. Indiana has 57 Republican and 92 Democratic delegates for their party national conventions this summer. On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton has a large lead over Bernie Sanders in the delegate count, but Sanders continues to campaign and compete in primary elections in different states. On to the big sporting story now, and Leicester City's supporters erupted into cheers when the team's Premier League title dream became a reality. Their only remaining challengers, Tottenham Hotspur, drew 2-2 at Chelsea, handing the underdogs the trophy in one of the greatest sporting achievements of the modern times. Unfashionable Leicester, outsiders at the start of the season, are English champions for the first time. And they became the first team to win a maiden English title since Nottingham Forest in 1977-78, having left the likes of Manchester City and United and Chelsea and Arsenal in their wake. Now, incredibly, Leicester spent half of the last season bottom of the league before a late surge saw them escape relegation. They began the season among the favourites to go down, but by Christmas, they were already unlikely challengers for the title as Chelsea and Manchester City spluttered. Well, time to wrap up this edition of news. But before we go, well, scientists have discovered 3 new planets similar to Earth. Now, these planets were found circling a small, dim star, bolstering the chances of finding life beyond Earth. So we leave you with the visuals of our latest astronomical neighbors. Thanks for watching.